Hello, welcome to this video. I felt called to make this just because of some of the attachments that I think we get into when there's either, something new that we're trying to bring in and we're not sure. And in this case, perhaps it is the practice of yoga that you are trying to bring in. And yet there may be some things that you're thinking of oh, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I'm flexible enough. I don't know if I can sit in stillness, and what I'm going to offer you are perhaps some thoughts that I have experienced in my own journey. Certainly responses that I have received when, talking with people about being a yoga class teacher or just yoga in general. The number one response that I hear is, I'm not flexible enough for that. I'm just not, my body can't do those things. So let's start there. I started practicing yoga about 12 years ago. And my experience, so I had a book of different postures. And so I would just pick a few postures and come into them. And my experience, because I had an expectation, right, that yoga was just for my physical body. And I was paying attention to how I was breathing when I was in these postures. I was definitely more focusing on my body. And when I first started, there were some postures, some asana, that it was pretty easy for my body to do. There were some postures where it was really challenging, and I actually would try to force my body into that, right? And that is not what yoga is. So if you are someone who has said, oh, I don't think I'm flexible enough for yoga, that may be true. Your body may not be flexible to do some of the postures, right? One, yoga can help with flexibility, right? So if you start to have a more consistent practice and there are postures that you would like to see, if your body can, kind of find that flexibility moment to moment, then yeah, I think yoga is a great practice for that. We can also think of flexibility as flexibility in our mind, right? So if you are saying, I don't think I'm flexible enough for yoga, that starts with your mind. Right? Those are your thoughts telling you that you have some sort of limitation there, right? Your mind itself is not flexible enough to be open to the practice. There's something holding you back. The practice of yoga itself is about liberation. Liberation from the thoughts, the thought patterns of your mind. Because depending on your experience in life, depending on who you are, how you grew up, where you grew up, right? Those influence how you think. Those influence your thoughts. Yoga is about unpacking all of that. There are so many layers within the practice of yoga. It's about how you understand, how you learn to understand yourself. It's how you learn to understand the world. So coming back to the response, I don't think I'm flexible enough for yoga. Maybe in this moment, you're not. Maybe if you allow yourself to just try it and be open to what it can offer you, maybe then you will learn some flexibility in your body. Maybe you'll learn to create flexibility in your mind. Something else that I've heard, and something else that I've, experienced in class, whether it's myself or students around me, is I tried yoga, and I could not stop farting, or could not stop burping, or I needed to use the bathroom. That's kind of what yoga does. Like, that's what the physical practice is meant to do. Again, we have this expectation or this attachment that yoga is just something for our physical bodies. The practice of yoga is meant for us to practice, right, physically on our mats, whether it's in our body, whether it's how we're breathing, so that we start to bring what we learn on our mats into our lives. And a lot of what yoga is about, as I've said, is unpacking layers of conditioning, thought patterns, even layers of conditioning in your body, right? Of sitting a certain way, of standing a certain way, right? Our body even gets into these paths of least resistance, places that are easy for us to be in, because over time our body has just gotten used to being in that place. Same with our mind. And so when you are experiencing like you need to fart or you need to use the bathroom, that's energy that is clearing from your body, right? It could be a physical blockage. It could be you're feeling discomfort somewhere in your body, and then you fart or whatever you need to do, and then that feeling goes away. Or maybe it's something deeper, an emotional blockage, and you yawn, or you have this sudden desire to like cough a ton. That's just energy manifesting as a way to get out, right? One of the reasons why I practice my physical practice first thing in the morning is because I know that's going to get my digestion going, and I'm going to be able to clear stuff out pretty early in the morning as long as I'm in my practice. What we start to think about, right? It's not about burping or farting. It's about, oh, I'm going to be making sound and people are going to be looking at me, or people are going to be judging me because I'm passing gas. Something else that, if you are open to it, yoga can help you let go of feeling judged. Let go of, why is everyone looking at me? Or I feel like everyone's staring at me, right? Because what we do when we are so hyper aware of everything around us, we stop paying attention to what's actually happening within. And when we're so focused on the external and what's happening around us, we start to lose our sense of trust within ourselves, right? If your body's telling you to get something out, listen to that. If you need to leave the room or do what you need to do, then do it, right? But just let it happen. And again, this is something that will come with time and with practice, with openness for yourself, with compassion for yourself. All of these things that yoga can help you do. Something else that I have heard, and that I too have actually, experienced in my own journey is, yoga is a very spiritual practice. It comes from the Hindu religion. And it is very enmeshed into the stories of the gods and goddesses. So sometimes when someone is identifying in an organized religion, and they go to practice Om, practice the mantra Om, they kind of struggle with that. Or perhaps you might have struggled with it and been like, oh, this feels weird. Like, is this okay for me to practice because of my religion? And this again is when you need to come back in to yourself. it is very important for us to respect the tradition of yoga. There are so many ways that yoga is disrespected, that we cause harm to the people of India, where this tradition comes from, because of how we see yoga. Again, yoga is more than the physical body. In yoga philosophy, we actually have 5 layers within ourselves. Panchakoshas, the 5 layers, the 5 sheaths that protect the Atman, the self, the soul. The physical body, Annamaya Kosha, is just the first layer. And then we have the mental layer. We have the energy layer, the wisdom layer, the bliss, like all of these layers. And in these practices, you may experience a heightened sense of divine power, a connection to your higher power that you believe in, the divine, God, source, universe, Brahman, whatever you call that. So if you are having those thoughts, is this for me? Does this go against my religion? Sit with it. Feel into it. Ask yourself, can I respect the tradition of yoga while also respecting my own religious background, where I come from? And if that's a yes, then you can practice yoga, and you can practice your religion. If something feels off for you and you're like, I don't know if I can do this, then take a step back and maybe examine why, right? Is it your own limitation? Is it you holding yourself back from being able to respect the practice? Or is it something deeper for you? This again is something that yoga can help with. Just being open to asking why. Why am I feeling this? Is this a practice that resonates with who I am? And know that that may change in a moment to moment. There was a time for me where I took a step back from my practice because I needed to give myself space to think about, am I causing harm to the people of where this tradition comes from? And for me, there was just such a deep feeling for me to continue exploring yoga, to continue exploring this tradition, because I resonate so deeply with it. All things to think about, all things to be aware of within yourself. And rather than turn away from it and just say, no, I'm not flexible enough, or no, I don't think that is for me. Give yourself some space to just sit with it. Again, maybe it's not, and that's okay. Now you know something for sure about yourself. And isn't that what this life is all about? Just trying to learn who you are and how you navigate the world moment to moment. I will share, one of my favorite teachers, Angie Tawari. She also has a YouTube channel, so I will include her link in the description, just so you can look more into, she's been really great about offering correct pronunciations of the Sanskrit words for asana, and different concepts you might hear and learn about in your own practice. She also has a video about red flags to be aware of if you do go to yoga classes in the community. Just things to be aware of when you are with a teacher, because that's another thing. You know, with anything, we connect with different people. We connect with different people in our lives depending on who we are. So maybe you go to a yoga class and, you know, you really like the practice of yoga. The teacher, however, just you don't really vibe with. And that's okay. There's someone for everyone out there. It's just, again, thinking about respecting the tradition and making sure that we are honoring where it comes from, where yoga comes from, that we want to be mindful of these red flags. So feel free to share anything that comes up for you. If you have questions, I'll do my best to respond in the way that that helps. So thank you for listening, and maybe see you in a practice.